Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me here at BBELT 2021. I'm enthusiastic. I'm really happy to be here at this special edition. So welcome to this session. Welcome to this presentation, which is called Teacher and Students Wellbeing in Remote Teaching, Something to Nurture. It's a pleasure to be here speaking to you. And well, my name is Omar. I'm a teacher and a teacher educator. I've been also a mentor in the Champion Teachers Program in Mexico at the British Council. So one of my passions is doing research. And this is a research presentation, but with some practical ideas to share. So stay here. In these minutes, you are going to be learning, hopefully, some ideas that you may replicate in your context, which are not that difficult to apply. So, well, to begin, I'd like to show you this outline, which is the structure of my presentation, and I'll be starting by telling you some things about remote teaching and the importance of well-being. And then we'll move on to the practical ideas, which is the core of this presentation, to look after well-being. And I'll finish this presentation by sharing with you some final thoughts that I've come up with regarding teacher and students' well-being. Well, the first one, remote teaching and importance of well-being. Remote teaching is something that has to do with distance. No technology is necessarily involved in it. However, in these modern times, technology is part of it. Now, remote teaching has something important to say. There are some limitations in doing this type of work. But those limitations that are to do with materials, with connectivity, with communication with your learners, are also opportunities if you perceive them that way. Those opportunities are for you to experience and do things that you have probably never done before. So that's one of the benefits of remote teaching, and that's one of the things that are involved in remote teaching that are important to highlight. In remote teaching, ideally, there's a combination of synchronous and asynchronous work, but probably there's more about one over the other. When we talk about remote teaching, you might probably think of the following term, which is called emergency remote teaching. Emergency remote teaching is to do with a crisis, with things that make or have classes difficult in face-to-face classes or classrooms, better said. So these are some of the characteristics of remote teaching that I'd like to say were like the keys to make this report possible. Well, emergency remote teaching has these characteristics. Has these characteristics. Well, there's variation in infrastructure. Students and teachers have differences in infrastructure, in equipment, in connectivity, in technological resources, and competencies as well. Not all the teachers, not all the learners have the same digital competencies in managing technology, in probably having lots of sophisticated gadgets to get online and work. Well, in remote teaching, there's an excess of screen exposure. And this is probably one difference between emergency remote teaching and online learning. In this type of work, there's an excess of screen exposure. Some students are dealing with 8, with 9, with 10 courses at the same time, whereas in online learning, they do that with only 1 or 2 courses at the same time. And actually, the plans, the curriculums are different, okay? Well, there's an excess of being online, and that's one of the things that you need to be aware of. So when there are excesses, there might be a combination or a balance between doing that and between looking after your well-being. Remote teaching is abrupt because you go from one model to teach from one day to the other suddenly without any prior advertisement or without prior information, and you just go, you just move your courses, face-to-face courses, to digital ones or to online courses. So that's one of the characteristics. Emergency remote teaching is also something temporary. That's the good news. Emergency remote teaching is temporary, but there's one thing that which is kind of opposite to this idea. It's indefinite. We never know when this is going to be over, when the term of remote teaching will be over. So the better you look after your well-being in this way to work, the better you will feel, and the better you will deal with it, if you want to use the word deal with, okay? Well, so what's the importance of well-being? Well, looking after your body, after your mind, is something essential, something that we need to be aware of. We are human beings, and human beings have feelings. And if you don't feel well, you won't do the things well. That's in my opinion, okay? So the well-being that I'm making reference to in this presentation is mental and physical. And if you are thinking about physical well-being as a synonym of doing exercise, no. Physical involves other things that I will explain to you throughout the practical ideas that I will present. So teachers need to look after their well-being, but also students. If students don't know how to, teachers are there to help them or to make these things easier, okay? Well, so now it's time to talk to you about the practical ideas to look after your well-being and your students' well-being, okay? Before sharing the first one, I'd like to say that these ideas were part of action research that other teachers did because I asked them to implement some strategies that I had experienced before. I didn't want to work on this report by telling you all the things that I experienced myself. No, I needed to experience with other teachers, and those volunteer teachers that were my colleagues and some friends of mine were very kind to me and implemented some strategies and gave their ideas and shared their ideas with me so I could report them back to you and see if they also work for them. So these practical ideas are things that are at hand, are things that you can experience yourself without getting something expensive or without, even without getting anything, okay? So there are other practical ideas that were just the result of some things that we usually do every day at home, and but I needed some data to support those the information and the usefulness of them. Okay, well, so the first practical idea is to do with installing an application which is called WhatsApp Business. We have, or most of us might know or know what WhatsApp is. But WhatsApp Business is an alternative if you want to experience other ways to get in touch with. This is something that this is my recommendation with adults or young adults, or if you are working with primary learners or kindergarten learners with parents. WhatsApp Business is helpful because of these things that some teachers said. These were the questions that are above, or the aspects that are above, are the things that I consider to evaluate the implementation of this action. And why using WhatsApp Business for academic purposes? Well, one of the benefits of using WhatsApp Business is that it lets you schedule your availability, the times in which you can get in touch with your learners. You can actually work on the profile which is there on WhatsApp and define some information that your contacts might see and may need to consider at the moment of contacting you. For example, your email, your schedule, your timetable schedule, and or an away message. Okay. What's the effect of using WhatsApp Business with these teachers and parents? Well, they felt more comfortable at the moment of contacting and getting in touch with parents and learners. And they also have experienced calm, because instead of having parents contacting teachers at 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 p.m. or 12 or even at 11, parents have reacted to this way. They now contact the teacher in the scheduled times that appear there. They contact the teacher to submit some assignments or to ask and clarify some information. Okay. What's the importance of it in the well-being? Well, this contributes to your mental well-being, because the automatic reply which is there is helpful for that, not only for you but for the people who are contacting you. If they contact the teacher or somebody else after scheduled times, an automatic reply will appear, and they will be informed that they will be contacted back later, or as soon as the normal teachers' activities resume normally. Okay, so this is the contribution of WhatsApp Business, of using WhatsApp Business as a way to contact your students. This application has something, has also other benefits, like selecting the people to whom you want to put that away message or send that away message, and also other features that you can explore. So that's my recommendation. Install WhatsApp Business, especially if you need to establish immediate or synchronous communication with your learners or with parents. Now, this is what some students have said about the use of WhatsApp Business, and these are my students' opinions. I use WhatsApp Business myself with them. Using this application with them has made them feel certain about my response, about my answer to their message. If they contacted me after my scheduled hours, they know that I will contact them back later or as soon as I start my classes on the other day. They don't insist because they know that I'm either doing other things, or that I'm busy, or I'm probably spending time with freely, right? They also know that WhatsApp Business is a matter of promoting respect, especially in terms of the schedule, okay? This helps them think that the schedule is something important to respect and stick to. Well, the following practical idea is music. Music is very well known as a resource for the ESL classroom, but what's the importance of it in mental and physical well-being? Well, these are my students' opinions. The things that I consider at the moment of applying music this way are the ones that are in blue circles. But I will explain to you how I use music. Instead of having a silent waiting room at the moment of starting my online session, I played music while at the same time, my slides were displayed. So instead of having those silent 5 minutes in which you wait for your students to join your session, I played some music, and I even included some videos. And this is the result of doing that. My students said that instead of experiencing negative feelings, they experience positive ones, like happiness, like they felt they were like getting in the mood of having the class. They also experienced, a kind of excitement to begin, because the class started with a song of their preference, or a song that they even didn't know, but now they know, right? They say that they don't like a silent waiting room, because that's a synonym of being bored, so the songs that they prefer and the songs that I played were popular. I selected the ones that were popular, in a variety of them, sometimes some genres and sometimes others. And I try to stick to my students' preferences, so I don't play songs that they won't like and make that wait even more boring. Okay. Now, the class environment with music, at the moment of having the class, either implementing a warmer, a filler, or an activity in which music is involved, or in the meantime, while they are doing something and you play music, they feel that's engaging, and they feel active and relaxed. So if you make your classes, or if you integrate music in your classes, your students will experience positive emotions, and those positive emotions will be a synonym of mental well-being. Okay. Now, what about physical, and why am I saying this also benefits physical well-being? Well, because as I said, instead of being, instead of being sitting all the class, I plan some activities in which they need to move, in which they need to stand up and go for something, to show it to the camera, or to have them physically active. Sitting for long periods of time is kind of negative for your health, and I don't want my students to be experiencing that, because there's an excess of exposure to the screen. So that's my way to contribute to their mental and physical well-being in class. Now, just for your information, these are the styles my students prefer listening to in the waiting room. They prefer pop, they prefer rock, some reggaeton, and some K-pop, okay? If you want to play other songs in the waiting room, do that, okay? It's a matter of enjoying your class yourself, but also your students, okay? The following practical idea is very well known, and this is something obvious, but probably some of you haven't had the chance to do that. And this is implementing teamwork and interaction, even in online classes, or in online applications in which you are having a session. Well, individual work is there with a negative sign or symbol, because when these are my students, this is something that my students said. They said that when they worked individually, they felt they needed support, they needed help, they had more questions, and they felt nervous to ask. When they worked in the breakout rooms, or in the modality of working as a team, they felt they had immediate support, somebody else to have some support. They also got to know each other. This happens because these students who said these answers were part of a new course. They were were newcomers at school. So they said that working this way helped them to get to know each other even in the distance. And there's something good. They've perceived improvement in their productions or in their assignments when they work as a team. So, but be aware of this. Not all of the learners will enjoy working as a team, as usually, and this usually happens as well in the face-to-face classroom. But fortunately, most of them do. So this is my case. 91.7% of my learners enjoy working collaboratively in the online class, and 8.3% of them don't. They like, or they say they prefer working individually. And this is just for your information as well. Be aware that at the moment of promoting teamwork and interaction, you will need to consider the individual preferences, okay? You need to organize mixed ability groups so that your students can have more opportunities to help each other and to learn from each other. And yes, it does need prior preparation. If you are working with an application like Zoom, probably you will set the rooms automatically, or if you are working with a different one, you will need to prepare different links or the rooms so your students can interact with each other at the moment that you are having the session, okay? So be aware of that so that teamwork and interaction become something easy to do and something positive and contributes to your students' mental well-being in the classroom. Now, the following practical idea is about something that I do enjoy. And this is about breathing, okay? The benefits of breathing are a lot, and this is just the first step to mindfulness, okay? If you want to do more work about it, I suggest, and well, my recommendation is that you go to the internet and find some strategies to do mindfulness in your daily life. And well, these are some of the responses of some teachers regarding breathing. I selected some teachers and they volunteered. The feelings that they experienced after breathing for a minute when they felt stressed, when they felt distressed, or when they were having lots of work were the following. They felt peaceful, they felt relaxed after breathing for a minute, they felt calmed down and de-stressed. So breathing is something potentially useful to help you become more aware of the things that you do every day, even if you are having a hectic day or a hectic week. The usefulness is a lot. They said that yes, breathing, even though this action sounds something obvious, help them a lot. And I will explain to you, and we're going to do an exercise. We're going to implement it at this moment. If you want to do it with me, we're going to do it. What you need to have is a timer with you. And at the moment that you are feeling that you can't continue working because you are having lots of stress, or you are experiencing lots of stress, or you are even tired, you need to do this. You need to breathe in, then you need to hold, and then breathe out. Do that for a minute. Do that for a minute every time that you feel tired, that you feel stressed, that you feel you need to stop. Looking after your mind, looking after your body, looking after your emotions is something essential. So breathing is something that I enjoy, and something that my colleagues that were giving these responses said that it was beneficial, okay? And this is a quotation from one of the forms that they filled out after implementing breathing. And this teacher said, breathing for a minute makes me feel relaxed. I reorder my ideas and start to see things differently. After breathing that way, my thoughts flow more consciously. This person is a director. She's in charge of a higher education institution, of a teacher training college. So imagine, teachers, directors, all of us matter in teaching, and we all have emotions. We all experience positive and negative emotions. So breathing for this person was something beneficial. And in her words, she said that it helped her to make better decisions and treat people respectfully. The following idea is being physically active or working out. Physically active, it doesn't necessarily mean doing exercise, okay? Being physically active, can be about other things, moving your body, dancing, running, walking, things that you can do at home and that don't necessarily need to become a routine or an exercise routine. Okay, so these are some responses and some things that some colleagues said based on the questions that are in blue. Do you exercise or, sorry, do you do an exercise or any physical activities to be physically active in this lockdown and in remote teaching? Well, they said yes. The feelings that they experienced after doing exercise because they had a long working day were the following. They felt relaxed, they felt energetic and happier, and even more, ready to go to bed. That's something that I didn't include, but something that they said. The benefits rely on their physical and mental well-being. It's obvious. If you do exercise, you're going to feel different. If you do exercise or if you keep yourself physically active, your mind will be spending time on focusing on those actions rather than on thinking about things that don't contribute to that. Okay, that's the importance of being physically active. But being physically active also involves staying hydrated. And this is also that is to do with teaching. When you are teaching remotely, you need to stay hydrated. You need to look after your nutrition. If you stay hydrated, you don't feel like eating snacks every single time that you feel hungry. No, if you stay hydrated, your body will respond to it positively, and you won't feel the need to be eating snacks or candies during your classes or during this type of work. Okay, have good sleep. Sleeping well is something that is kind of difficult in lockdown and in remote teaching because you are working from home. You probably have now more free time and you spend it doing other things later, and then that affects your sleep. But be aware of this. If you have good sleep, you are going to be more productive, okay? And that's going to contribute to your mental well-being because you are the things well, and you are not procrastinating. Avoid procrastination, okay? Spend your time wisely, okay? Now that you don't need to go to school, you have that time to be at home and probably spend it on doing things that you didn't do before. But that doesn't mean that you will need to change all your schedule and you will need to put your work away to do that. No, organize yourself and spend your time wisely. The last practical idea, which is one of my favorite ones that I wanted to make more emphasis on, is on something that we have at home, on something that we do all have, and this is high quality family time. And what I mean by family is all the family types that you want: your friends, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your siblings, your niece, all of your family members, all of the ones that you consider your family members, even your pets, okay? And the things that I asked different colleagues to say regarding this idea were the following. Do you resort to your family after a long working day? It's normal to resort to feel the need to resort to somebody after a long working day. Having a talk with somebody will help you order your thoughts and make better decisions and experience better things. So the teachers that I asked this question said that yes, they resort to their family after a long working day. they feel the need to do that to experience the following feelings. They felt relaxed and they felt relieved. I know we teachers might say we love our work, but our work is our work, our family is our family, our time is our time, our life is our life. So it's valid to say that, yeah, you love your work, but you also love your family and your time with yourself if you don't have a family as such, or if you live alone by your own. Okay? The activities that they did after a long working day with their family were watching series, having dinner, having a conversation, and playing games. These activities will help you be more productive, okay, and to feel better. And these are some quotations. These are some ideas they said and they shared with me. When I have a a hard or stressful day, I just talk to them, my family, about it, and I know it because the feeling of wellness is almost immediate. So probably most of us have experienced that when we finish a long working day and we have that moment in which we get to talk to our mother or to somebody who lives with us, we feel that that wellness immediately. And the other, which is something that I enjoyed a lot, it does contribute to my mental well-being because my family is somehow my escape to my work. As I said, I'm not making any negative connotation about work. No, our work is our work. I do enjoy my work. I do enjoy teaching. I love it. That's part of my life. But we need some escape sometimes. Okay, lots of assignments, lots of grading, lots of students in our minds. Are also a synonym of having a rest someday and or having as one of my colleagues said here, escape. Okay, so spend time with your family. You don't necessarily need to be into family sciences to get to know about this, but this is something that we all have. Okay, a family. So these are some final thoughts to make remote teaching something more enjoyable, something more bearable, and something sustainable. So the first question, how to make remote teaching something more bearable? Well, follow a routine. Work on that transference of working face-to-face and working online. Follow a routine. Follow the same routine that you used to follow when you used to go to face-to-face classes. Um, Wake up early and start working. Stick to the schedule that you were given at your institution, so you don't need to work later or more hours. Okay, plan a class that your students and you will enjoy. This is something important. Listening to your students' voices is something important. Some teachers might be probably planning something that they like, but you need to consider your students' opinions, their preferences, something that they would like to experience. Reflect constantly. After every lesson, reflect. Think about the things that went well, the things that didn't go well, and the things that you might probably need to change, some future actions to implement. Experience, but test. Now that we are online most of the day, most time of in the day, well, check some webinars, check some videos on YouTube, and get some ideas to implement in your classes. Experience them, but before experiencing them with your learners, test if they work, or or test if you can implement them in your class, so that that doesn't become a mess in your class. Okay. So this one of the benefits of remote teaching is that it helps some teachers become more reflective. Okay. So work on your reflection, reflect every class, every time that you finish a class, and plan classes that you and your students will enjoy. Okay. Start from hard things to do and move forward. Being working remotely is doing everything from home and at home. So we can't avoid having things which are boring to do, or for example, the ones that I find very boring are those administrative things that teachers need to turn in some days. So start from those hard things and move forward, so that you don't put those things off, and then you have lots of work to do. Okay, if you start from those hard things, you're going to feel, as one of my colleagues said, relieved, and you will move forward and will feel more motivated to work on the things that are more interesting for you. Take breaks. It's important to stand after having some classes, to take some breaks. As I said, stay hydrated, walk for a minute, think about other things, turn on your television, turn on your music, do something to escape from work a bit. Okay, having breaks is something necessary. Staying all day in front of a computer is not positive to your sanity, so be aware of that. Take breaks, it's valid. Have some spare time. We have the opportunity to work from home, and that's something that teachers are lucky about. And having this spare time now is something that we have probably experienced more. If you follow a routine, and if in that routine you plan some classes some days, and then you have some time for you, you are going to have more possibilities to spare that time. So spend that time on doing something that you have probably found difficult to do when you were working in face-to-face classes, and do it. Okay, it's valid. Stay away from toxic situations. Being online, checking the WhatsApp group from work, all the emails that are sent daily, or having meetings with your colleagues in which things about students who don't get online, or who don't join your sessions, or who don't submit assignments, are things that are always shared. Well, they are something that we can't avoid. We need to be in those meetings, but stay away from those toxic situations as much as you can. There are things that you can control, and there are things that won't contribute to your mental well-being. It's important to be informed, yeah, but it's also good to be aware that those things won't contribute to your well-being. So stay away from toxic situations and colleagues. That's something that's my recommendation. Stay away from some toxic colleagues as well. It's valid to say. There are some colleagues who are always, kind of sharing things on WhatsApp, and that's not nice. So just my opinion, okay? And that's probably something that you have that you have experienced as well. Avoid engaging in things that you can control. There are things that we would like to be perfect. We would like to have all of our learners in our classes. We would like them all to have sophisticated equipments to work and to submit their assignments, to be in classes, to participate. But they have their own life. What we teachers can do is to make the class time enjoyable, to make it useful, to make it meaningful. But we can control many things in which we cannot be in. For example, well, I wouldn't mention them because they might be controversial, but Avoid engaging in things that you can control. Do your best. That I'm not telling you to be how to say it, like indifferent. I just want you to tell you that do the things that you can do them the best that you can do, so you feel well, and that you feel that you are doing your work. Sometimes doing more, or being asked to do more that we can do, is something that is going to be causing some of negative emotions, and that's not positive. Okay, so do your work, do it the best that you can, contact all of the students that you can, and address those situations that are kind of being difficult the best way that you can. Okay, but avoid engaging in things that you can control. We are humans. All of our students have their lives. All of them have different characteristics. You just need to consider them and to be kind. Okay, and remember, look after your mind. Your mind matters. Your body matters. Your family matters. Your free time matters. Your students matter. So your work matters as well. So what you need to do is to put all those pieces together, and to prioritize the things when the moment in the correct moments, I would say. Okay. How to make this idea sustainable? All the ideas that I told you about some seconds ago. Well, turn routines into habits. Instead of having a routine, or besides having a routine, in those routines, implement those practical ideas, or any of those practical ideas, and make it a habit. For instance, one habit that I didn't have before this remote teaching term that we've been going through was breathing, and now it's part of my routine, and now it's a habit. So every time I feel that way, I breathe in, I breathe out, and it's become a habit, a good habit, I would say. Doing exercise, that was something that I used to do before, but now it's part of my habit. And even when I don't do that because I did other things, I feel there's something missing in my day. So be constant and disciplined. Doing or implementing these ideas that I shared with you doesn't involve complexity or any difficulties. What it does need is to be constant and be disciplined, so you can do them daily, and they can become something sustainable. Start and don't stop doing those things. If you started using WhatsApp Business with your learners, continue doing that, okay? Continue promoting respect, continue promoting having interaction at the moments in which face-to-face classes were planned, okay? Continue looking after your timetable schedule so you can have a productive day. If you started breathing, do that every time you feel that you need to do that to feel better, okay? And if you started to spend more time with your family because now you are more time at home, well, do it the best way possible, and do it in an enjoyable way, okay? So these ideas, as I said, are practical. To make them sustainable, you just need to say, yeah, I implement it, and I continue doing that the best way possible. So before finishing, I'd like to give some special thanks to all of you for watching, to all of you for being here today. But I'd like to give some special thanks to some teachers who were implementing those actions, and to some teachers that shared their ideas with me, their thoughts with me about some topics, and my students at the Escuela Normal de Amecameca and the Language Institution, which is there at the Escuela Normal, and the people at the British Council for making this special edition possible, and to you all for watching. So these are some references and acknowledgements that I wanted to share and that I like to highlight. And these are my contact details. If you want to get to know more about teacher research, because my focus is teacher research, well, you can follow me there on Twitter and Instagram. And now it's time for questions. Many thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Omar, for this amazing presentation. We have few questions, and I don't know if you can help us with them. Okay, so the first one is by Luz Hernandez Rubio, and she's asking, "Hi, Omar. I think that teachers should have formal training on mindfulness before they try to teach it to their students, as it is not as easy as it seems. There are some risks that we are not aware of at first glance. Thank you." Would you like to reply to this comment, Omar?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, hello again. Thanks for joining my session. Hello, Luz. Yes, definitely. To be into mindfulness, you need to be, very well informed. You need to know about it well. It's not something easy. In the presentation, what I shared was this technique of breathing in and breathing out, so you feel a bit more relaxed. And then I mentioned mindfulness, so you can, if you find breathing that way very beneficial, you can start exploring mindfulness. No, that's something that I like to clarify. Breathing is just the technique that I shared, and something that may be beneficial for you. But if you want to experience something more relaxing and something more positive for your body, you can start exploring mindfulness, which is a very interesting area. And my recommendation, follow Tanya Meyer, who is somebody who is in ELT and in mindfulness. She's an expert in that area. So thank you, Luz.
Thank you very much, Omar. We have another question, and this is related to something that we spoke at the beginning. How can you realize that someone is not physically or mentally well? And this is related to the question or to the comment that teacher Janicet Montoya Medina did. She mentioned, "Some of my students are facing real depression. The relatives are not here anymore. How do you deal with this situation? Challenges due to COVID-19. We can get some ideas, but being realistic, empathy is not always in our lessons or in our hands."
That's a good question, and something very thought-provoking. It isn't easy. Being empathic isn't just something. That's something that we always listen to. No, be empathic with your learners. Be friendly. Listen to them. Help them. Yeah, I know that's not sufficient. As I said in one of the last slides, there are things that we can control. You just need to be friendly. You just need to be, yes, you need to be empathic, but you don't need to worry about the things that you can control. If you want to be kind to your learners and help them a little bit, you can have a talk to them, you can listen to them, and after listening to them, you can start modifying a little bit your teaching. What I mean is that do what you can to help them from the place where you are. It isn't that, how to say it, being empathic doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be quite flexible with your classes, because you still need to be that teacher who is kind of demanding learning from them. But nowadays, I think that well-being is the first thing that you need to look at, and something that you need to worry first. No, that's a good question, because a teacher would like a teacher who worries about their learners, or who is aware of their learners, might want to do more things. But that's what I suggest that you can do. You can listen to them, and then you can do something from your teaching. You can, at the moment of planning, you can probably plan a game. You can probably plan something to make them reflect, to have a conversation in class, so you can listen to them, and they can also listen to each other, and they can be they can feel that they are joined no matter the distance, and that they are with the class. No, I remember this thing that lots of teachers at secondary say. Probably some learners are suffering at home, and the only place where they feel they are safe is school. So a teacher needs to provide a good environment for them. So what you can do from the place where you are is planning something like that. Have them think of something more than just your class. No? Thank you, Janissa. That was a thought-provoking question.
Thank you, and thank you for the teachers who are participating. Please remember that we would try to answer all your questions, but in case that is not possible for you, I would like to share with you Omar's social media, so you can contact him. Or Omar, would you mind giving us how can we reach you?
Sure. This is at Omar Rugerio P on Instagram and Twitter, and that's my email, omar.rugerio@upaep.edu.mx. And there are some questions about WhatsApp, no?
Yeah, there are some questions about WhatsApp. I'm going to do them right now. Okay. They are asking, like, how does your school administration react to the use of WhatsApp Business? And if WhatsApp Business is a free app?
Okay, WhatsApp Business is a free app. My school administration has given the teachers in my organization, which is the Escuela Normal de Amecameca, the freedom to use any means as long as you are in contact with your learners and as long as you can be in touch with them. WhatsApp Business is something beneficial. WhatsApp Business can be very useful, not only for teachers, but also for administrators, especially if they are in contact with lots of people who are asking questions all the time. So my administrators have reacted to it positively, but just let me tell you a secret. I have set the away message just for some colleagues and for some students. Well, for all my students and just for some colleagues, but for my administrators or the principal and the vice principal, no. I select don't send the away message to them because, probably having the director of an institution read an automatic reply from somebody who is working for him or for that institution might be something probably rude, no? So I have to confess that I have selected my directors or my boss in that list. I have selected my director, so she doesn't receive the away message. But you can do that. And there was another question that I read over there, and how you can have a WhatsApp business and then your personal one. If you have the possibility, you can get two mobile phones, but if you don't, there's something which is probably not that legal. This is something that a friend of mine did, and she said that she installed WhatsApp Business with a SIM card on her mobile, and then she removed that WhatsApp that SIM card, and then she introduced her personal WhatsApp number to install WhatsApp, so she has WhatsApp and WhatsApp Business in the same telephone. So if you want to do that, you can do that. That's going to be very helpful.
Perfect. Thank you, Omar. And we have a lot of questions here, but I think it resumes in one. Okay. What would be the aspects or the characteristics of a teacher who is just about to burn out?
That's an interesting question. How do you realize that you are about to burn out? Well, according to the World Health Organization, when you are mentally well is when you are being productive, but you are at the same time enjoying that productivity. When it's the opposite, when it's the moment of realizing that you are about to burn out, it's when you start to feel depressed, when you start to lose motivation, when you are doing just the things because, not because you are enjoying them. So that's one of of the things that are going to be very evident. You might get starting to be pessimistic instead of finding ways to improve something, or instead of contributing positively to meetings at work, you start to think negatively all the time. That's something very common, and probably something that we do unconsciously sometimes, but that's something that represents that a teacher is about to burn out. So loss of motivation, depression, being negative all the time, being pessimistic, when you feel angry because of a student's action, something which is probably insignificant, but you feel angry about that, that means something which is probably very insignificant, but something that makes you angry is an evidence that you need to be aware that you are about to burn out. No, probably when you feel that no matter all the things that you are planning or all the things that you are doing for your learners are not being worth it. That's probably something that you need to be aware of. And that probably is a sign that you are about to burn out. Very simple things that we do, that we are not that conscious, but that we used to enjoy or to do happily, and now that you are working remotely, are evidences that you are probably about to burn out. And well, the most evident ones is when you are hectic and you are experiencing irritability, or lots of stress, or now when things are a bit more evident is when your body starts to suffer from insomnia, probably stomach problems in your stomach, when you're when you are not feeling well, when you are suffering from lots of headaches. So those are very evident things that, and I would say that the more that are the most, how to say them, how to say it, probably that you have the most evident ones that are indicating that you have reached that point of burnout. No, so once that you feel something like that, you need to stop. You need to think, am I doing the things well? Am I feeling well? And if you don't, you need to stop. You need to reflect. You need to calm down, and you need to control yourself. That's probably the moment in which you need to start to think about looking after your mind and your body.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Omar. Unfortunately, we are run out of time, but on behalf of the teachers who joined us today, I would like to thank you and give you a big round of applause on behalf of them, because they cannot do it, or they are doing it at home, we cannot see them. So thank you very much. I would like to invite you to the next part of this exhibition. From 11:30 to 12, we will have the exhibition and chat with, so you can see in the program. So thank you very much for being here today, and thank you very much, Omar.
Thank you so much to you, Denise. Thank you all for watching, and continue enjoying BBELT. It's a pleasure.